Ready.
Hey guys, welcome back to We Met at Acme. I'm so excited to be here with Katie Austin.
Yay,
Hi.
thank you so much for having me.
I'm so glad you're here. I was just saying the honeymoon glow is so real. Congratulations.
Actually, it's so crazy. Today is 1 month.
Oh my, isn't it crazy how the first month flies?
Flies by. I also haven't been with him for like a week. So it's the longest time apart since we've been married. But yeah, 1 month ago, I texted him this morning and I said, happy 1 month of marriage.
So
it's crazy.
Cute. Well, before we get into all of that, because I want to know the whole story, what is your favorite romantic gesture?
Ooh, what's my favorite romantic gesture?
For someone to do to you.
For someone to do to me. Okay, so I found out recently, I'm not that into physical touch. So I'm not like obsessed with getting a massage or something like that. The most romantic gesture is something that just, an act of service, that something to do that helps me because I'm a really busy on the go girl. So like if he, goes to the grocery store for me that day, that's a really romantic gesture to me.
I agree with that. That's so romantic to
save
me.
my time. I'm good at time management with my career, but not with like the day-to-day errands and stuff. So when he does something for me that's making my life easier, that's so romantic to me.
I love that. When is your birthday, by the way?
October 2nd.
Oh my God, I knew you were a Libra. I just knew because I'm a Libra.
Wait,
and
really? What's your birthday?
September 28th.
Oh my God, we're so close together.
So close. When is your husband's birthday?
June 29th. So he's a Cancer.
So is my husband.
That's so cute. Okay, we get along really kind of perfect in that way. Like
I love that.
Balanced. He's sensitive. He like really leans into his emotions, but he's so understanding of everything that I do. And so supportive. And he kind of keeps me in line as well.
I really love that. Also, I was watching your wedding video before this, and I saw that your husband was crying, and I literally said to myself, I'm like, I wonder if he's a Cancer.
Stop. I love that. That's amazing. He is.
It's really cute to have a male partner, and I want to get into this because I feel like it's rare. Like both of our husbands are emotional guys. Do you feel like he's more emotional than you are?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, I definitely cry more, but that doesn't mean he's not as emotional.
Yeah.
He definitely leans into his emotions. He feels everything. He has also taught me, if there's something that doesn't feel right with somebody, I kind of like to put my emotions and put them to the side and be like, everything's positive and okay. I kind of got that from my mom, and kind of like everything's perfect all the time type vibe. And he's really helped me lean into the emotions if something's wrong, to like go to that friend or go to that family member and be like, hey, this is how I'm feeling, and letting the emotions on the table. And that's not how I've ever really expressed myself. So yeah, in some ways, absolutely. He definitely feels things. He definitely, he always checks in with people. He's taught me to really make sure to check in on my friends more, because I sometimes in the social media world, if my other friends are posting a lot, I feel like I know what they're doing or know what they're up to. And so he has taught me to check in more with people, and make sure they're okay as well. So not only his emotions he's really in tune with, but other people as well, which is so sweet.
I love that. So tell us your story. How did you guys meet?
I love this story. Now that we're married too, it's just fun to think about. I said the other day to someone, I was like, I married a stranger. I met him on a dating app. So like, I really, truly sometimes like, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
And it gives me so much anxiety because one day I downloaded the app. It's called The League. And I was single. This was like the height of COVID in 2020. And I was single. I was having so much fun, just like not even like hooking up with other guys, just kind of like texting and messing around with other guys. I've never been like super single. So this was like one of the first times that I was really single. My mom was
How
like—
old were you?
How old? I was 26.
Okay.
So, I had a long-term relationship. I dated a guy for like almost 5 years, just really having fun. And my mom was like really into my dating life. She's still really into, everything about my life, but into my dating life back then. And she went on a walk with one of her girlfriends. They were like, my son just met a great girl on the app called The League. My mom tried for weeks to push me on this app. Crazy woman. And so finally I download the app. 2 days later, I matched with this guy, and it gives me anxiety to think about if I never downloaded the app, or what if I never saw him that day? What if I never was fed him like on the app in the algorithm? Or what if I never swiped right? Like what if I just was like mindless one day and was like, nah, not him. Anyways, we went on our first official date, I would say 2 weeks later, because he was out of town. I really wouldn't say it's a date because I bailed on him the first time and I didn't really do dates.
Where were you guys living at the time?
I was living in West Hollywood. He was in Venice, California.
Okay.
So in Los Angeles. And I bailed on him the first time. I texted him, I drunk texted him, and I was like, hey, I'm out in your area. I was never in the Venice area because West Hollywood's kind of far away.
Right.
And he met up with me and my 6 girlfriends, and he passed the test immediately. As soon as he walked in, I was like, I messed up. I really, really messed up because I didn't know he would be so cute in person. I didn't know I'd like him so much. Right away, his energy, I was like, I like this man. Like within 10 seconds of meeting him, I was like, oh no, I'm too drunk for this. I'm with 6 of my girlfriends. We were planning on being Tasmanian devils tonight. So I don't know if this is a good vibe. But he was so attentive to all my friends. He was asking them questions. He wasn't just attending to me. He was very inclusive. And I think that was the first time that I was like, if you can talk to my friends and hold up between us, you've passed the test.
Totally. What was his story at the time? I know you had come out of this long 5-year relationship and you felt like you're most single, but what was his story? Had he been, going on dates on the apps, or
Yeah,
was
he was going on
single for
dates
a
on the
while?
apps, but the craziest part about it is he's never had a girlfriend before, never a long-term girlfriend. He's never said I love you to a girl. So it took him a long time to say I love you and become really serious with me because he just, as a 27-year-old guy, he's never really had a serious relationship. He would be dating a girl for 2-3 months and then kind of move on from that and never really got to like the boyfriend girlfriend stage. So when we got together, he was like, it definitely was different, but it still took him 8 months to like become really serious with me because he's always had, I don't know if I want to like share his dirty laundry on here, but his mom passed away. And so he's kind of had like, ever since his mom passing away, he never really wanted to get serious with a girl. He was like, had kind of commitment issues in that way. It's really me airing all his shit out. But
No, I think that I'm sure he would, say
and that's
the
how
same.
back to emotion. He's become
Right.
so emotional because of that. Like the fact that he understood that as well, that I was okay with him being not as committal because I understood what he was going through, and him kind of opening up in those emotions to me right off the bat was like so important. And from my end, I come from a 5-year relationship where he was cheating on me all 5 years, like truly the most
God, I'm
awful
so
guy. And so
sorry.
we both kind of came with, I guess, as you'd say, like a little bit of like relationship traumas.
Yeah.
And so we both kind of understood that. And it took us, I would say 8 months to kind of get to that really serious point, even though I knew I loved him from week 2.
Yeah.
But for him and his end, and for me, my guard was still up a little bit, of course, coming out of that other relationship. So, I think instantaneously we knew it was different, but took time to really get to that next level.
How soon into dating him did he open up about his mom?
I would say, well, actually, I was going to say 3 months in, but our first real date. So I say real date because, yes, of course, we met with 6 of my friends.
Right, right.
But then after that, we went on a real date, a second real date, and it was just dinner between us 2. And he was talking about his mom, and I was asking him questions, and he looked me in the eye about 30 minutes into dinner, and he said, whoa, this is so crazy. I've never talked to a girl about this before. I can't believe I'm talking about it on a date. It's only our second date. And I was thinking, wow, really? This is like my first question I would ask. Like, I'm such a family girl myself. I'm so close to my parents. I'm so close to my sister, my cousins, and everyone. So that was just natural for me to ask, like, hey, okay, what's your family life like? And talking about that, and how was it with his mom passing away, and how did he feel from that? And did he go to therapy over it? Because I know losing a loved one is really hard. So the fact that he opened up to me about that second date and he never really had before, I thought that was really special and showed like a different side of him.
I love that. And I also feel like that's so important for women listening who are afraid to kind of ask those questions on the first, second date. That's how you really connect with someone.
Absolutely.
And that doesn't mean you have to go down that road of like unpacking everything right there and then, but not being afraid to ask the difficult questions about their family, about their ex even. I feel like it's the sooner the better.
I agree. I feel like I wouldn't really ask those questions in my earlier 20s. And I know 26 is not like later 20s, but as I got older, I think I was more comfortable asking those questions. And now that I'm 30, I'm like, definitely ask those questions. I wish I would ask more of those questions on other dates. You know what I
Right.
mean? I kept it pretty surface level before, but I think for sure that's a great point to get those questions out of the way, because you also, I think values are a huge thing in relationships, and long term you could see off the bat with those questions if you're going to be compatible, because you can't really change that many values, and you can see his values explaining what he's been through.
That's so true. What is your age difference with him?
He is about to be 31, so he's only 3 months older than me. Yeah, he's only 3 months older than me, but he's a whole grade level above me. A whole grade.
That makes a difference, honestly.
Yeah,
It really does.
yeah.
And you mentioned that you like your past relationship, the 5-year one,
Yeah.
that he was cheating on you the whole time. I've been cheated on more than once, and it is the fucking worst.
It's the fucking
And
worst.
I feel like you're similar to me in that like you're very on your shit. So how did this happen?
Great question. So I dated this guy. He was a basketball player in college. So he was kind of like the hot shit in college. So he was like the point guard, and I played lacrosse in college. So we kind of was like a athlete couple, if you will. And you know, my dad's in sports. He's an NBA agent, and I always grew up loving basketball, not because of anything else, because I love the sport. My dad has been in basketball since the day I was born. So it just became natural to me. Every week I would have a new basketball player come to my house for dinner. I would go to basketball games growing up. So I was very drawn to basketball. And so when I first met him, I mean, we dated for a while, but when I first met him, I was just very enthralled and really thrilled with that. Just because I loved that environment and the lifestyle and going to games. About 2 years in, I had suspicions of him cheating on me, but every single time he would just make up an excuse. Like one time I would see his Snapchat, you could see like recent ads.
Yeah.
And he was like, and I saw like 4 recent girls, and I was like, what's this? And he's like, oh no, that's for, I'm trying to hook up my buddy with this girl. We met him out, and I was just trying to get their number to hook up my friend. And I was like, okay. And everything now looking back, it was so obvious.
Right.
Like I'm not a dumb girl, but I think I was just trying my best to believe him. One time, I even followed him home in an Uber because I saw him getting out of the walking, in his college town to walk out of the bar. And I followed him home in the Uber, and walk him home with a girl. And again, he said he was bringing home a girl for his roommate. And I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. And I just think
really,
because I loved the lifestyle, loved his,
yeah.
the family aspect, and loved going to games. And I think also, when I was 21 we dated from I was 18 to 23-ish, and I just was really engulfed in what other people thought. And he had an entirely other relationship for 9 months, and I didn't find out till after. One of my friends told me, who was also friends with that girl. And I found out about a month after we broke up. She was like, oh, finally I can tell you. And I'm like, oh my God.
Why did she wait so long to tell you?
I don't know. Everyone didn't really tell me. It was with multiple different girls. Other relationships he had. Now it all makes sense, and it's terrible. But in the moment, I never actually knew 100% if he cheated on me, ever.
Yeah.
I really didn't. And now if I look back, I'm like, of course he was cheating on you, Katie.
Right.
Like he would go out to, a bar, come home, and not text me that he's even home. And I'm like, oh, what happened? He's like, I just forgot. Geez, why are you being so crazy? And so I think I carried a little bit of the first year of me and my husband's relationship. I carried a little bit of that. Like my guard was still up. Like, oh, he's out of a bar. Like, what's he doing? Like, is he cheating on me? And my husband handled it really well. Like really, really, really well. And I don't think we've gotten so far if he wasn't as understanding with what I've been through.
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge
Yeah.
to have a partner who, because when you bring that cheating trauma, especially into a new relationship, it's like you might seem a little crazy because you've gone through like the shitstorm.
I did feel crazy sometimes.
Right.
And that's the thing about cheating. Sometimes it's like the guy can always be like, she's so freaking crazy. Like, and they'll blame it on the girl, how crazy. But they make us crazy. I'm not crazy at all.
He gaslit the shit out of you.
Absolutely. Like, I'm not crazy at all in my current relationship. Very healthy relationship.
Right.
I was psycho in my 5-year relationship because he made me feel so insecure with everything and made me feel like I was the one making all this stuff up when I got told that someone saw him making out with another girl at a bar, and he was like, you're so crazy that you would believe that person telling you that. What? That's insane.
No,
and I look back
so
now and I'm like, I feel bad for myself, but I've definitely see the difference of what a healthy relationship is supposed to be like,
Totally. I mean, if you And I remember this feeling, and I'm sure you do too. But if you have to text other friends who are at the same bar as your boyfriend,
No,
being
no,
like,
no, no.
what's going
No.
on? How's he doing? Like,
Worst feeling.
you need to run from that
Run.
relationship, like
Run.
immediately.
The contrast of the relationship of my 5-year versus now my marriage. Thank God it's so different, truly. But the contrast of just feeling so safe and secure of like him being him and doing whatever and being independent as I want him to be, and me not worrying about it, not having that like heart through my butt feeling if he's not texting me at 2 a.m. What's he doing? I know he's just having fun.
Totally.
The difference is insane.
It's night and day.
Night and day.
Like similar to you, if someone sent me, I don't know, if my husband was at a bar without me and he texted me something, like I'd probably fall asleep.
Yeah.
Because that's
I
how
could go to
not
sleep.
worried I am.
I couldn't even go to sleep knowing he was out. I would stay up all night waiting for just like a text or see where he at, or like he wouldn't share his location with me. But now my husband's like, we have to share locations for safety reasons. Like I have no inkling or want. I have never checked his phone. Like it doesn't even cross my mind. It's like,
totally.
And that was all on my mind in my relationship.
Yeah.
Of course, it's a difference with age too. You know, like earlier 20s versus later 20s, like you're secure with yourself, you know, if you want with yourself. And I always thought I was going to marry my 5-year relationship because it's all I knew, truly, like all I knew, like relationship wise in my adult life was him and being with him. I think that's also why I never wanted to break up with him, because it felt so comfortable. And it's like 18 to 23 was like, felt like my whole life. Like felt like I grew up with someone, felt like I was like a child before and now I'm an adult and seeing so many things change in our lives. And so I think I just didn't want to just give that up. He ended up marrying a girl that I think he like cheated on me with. He was dating us still at the both, but he told that girl we're not together. This might start some fights, but oh well, it's been years now.
I mean,
we're gonna be like, get the fuck over
who
it.
she married. When is his birthday, just out of curiosity?
My ex's birthday?
Yeah.
The fact that I still remember this.
I mean, how could you not? You dated for
January 17th, I want to say. January
Interesting.
17th.
Okay.
January 18th, I think it was.
Ugh, I hope it's not January 18th. That's my son's birthday.
It's January 17th then. Let's go January 17th.
Like, he better not be a fucking cheater. That's really funny. Do you feel like your husband is an introvert?
No. He's an extrovert, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
He loves to recharge. He is the biggest wellness guy I've ever known. So he loves his routine, and he loves like at least 5 nights a week, like doing our own thing and like being quiet, which is us too. But he has way more friends than I do. He is social. I brought him to SI swimsuit launch, and he was the only significant other basically that was at SI swimsuit launch, and he is fine. He's going off with all the models. He's talking to Livy Dunn and my best friend Kristen, and I'm like, great, perfect. He's fine. Gets along with everybody. He's wonderful.
I mean, I'm sure most guys would be fine.
No,
there.
literally, everyone's like, is he okay going to these SI swimsuit launches?
I think he'll be okay.
And I'm like, you guys, we're coming from our honeymoon, going to SI swimsuit launch week. I think he's okay. He's talking to the most beautiful girls in the world.
Right, like you don't have to worry about
And that's also another
him.
thing, by the way, how confident he makes me feel.
Right.
Because if any other guy was talking to the most beautiful girls in the entire world, I'd be like, no. But I'm like, please talk to them. They're wonderful women. Like, I love them to death. It's just a different vibe of confidence, you know?
I love that. What would you say is your model for a healthy relationship?
Like who?
Yeah.
Definitely my parents. My mom and dad for sure. They've been married 41 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
They have the same anniversary week as us, which is crazy.
So cute.
And the reason why is, and I've always looked up to my parents' relationship. They really just have a beautiful relationship. And I think it's because of my dad. Truly, my dad is so supportive of my mom's career. And I say this like a lot, which is it should be okay for any woman ever to do her own thing. But even back in the 80s and 90s, I think it was more like taboo for my mom was on ESPN for over 10 years. She had her own TV show on ESPN, and she was in a leotard doing leg lifts, showing her full body at all times, which is obviously, I'm an SI swimsuit. Trust me, I think it's okay. But even back then, I think, and especially the late 80s, a man kind of might be like, I'm not okay with that.
Right.
She was in a male-dominated world, and my dad is so supportive of her and wanted her to be the breadwinner, wanted her to be, you know, I don't know if breadwinner is maybe the right word, but she was like very successful, like building that
like he wasn't
empire.
He wasn't intimidated by her
exactly.
success.
And and not only not intimidated, but supported her fully, like, read her contracts, was helping her get to that next level of her career. And I think I've always looked at that and being like, my dad is so secure. My mom would go off, just like me, go at an event or at a party and talk to him at like everybody. And my dad would be like, yeah, she's great. Go do her thing. I'm chilling. I'm right here. My dad doesn't talk as much. He's a quiet guy. But I think that relationship, I've always been a very hard worker and very entrepreneurial, like my mom, needing a guy who's so secure and like letting me, it sounds so 80s, but letting me be in Sports Illustrated swimsuit and letting me do my own thing and letting me build my career and be here in New York City. I'm not seeing him for almost 2 full weeks and being okay with that I'm not at home, like taking care of our dog. I think that's really important for me. And like, that's the model of the relationship. And I think, my mom and dad both supported each other in their careers so much
Yeah.
that's what I really look at.
Yeah. That's really honestly so beautiful. I love
Yeah.
that. And your husband, because you mentioned that he's like into wellness.
So into
Is that his career as well?
No, he
Uh-huh.
is in commercial real estate private equity.
Mhm.
So he works a very corporate job. He's in the office every single day. So opposite of me. Does Excel spreadsheets, whatever he does.
Yeah.
Goes look at corporate buildings for selling for, meetings. And I don't know.
Sure,
It just
sure.
goes over my head a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And he is a very routine person. I am not, I love my routine, of course, but he is so strict on his routine because I think it's because he has to be with his job. It's not ever changing like mine. I'm in New York one week, in Miami last weekend, coming back to the city in 2 weeks type thing. And I can't really stick to as much of a routine because every day is so different for my career. But for him with a 9 to 5, I actually posted this like morning routine that he does, and he does it every single morning. He called me this morning. It was 8:30 like this time, and so it was 5:30 a.m. He's like, yeah, I'm just getting up, about to cold plunge. So he does a 2-hour morning routine where he goes in the cold plunge at 5:30 in the morning. He does it for 6 minutes every single morning. And then he meditates, breathes. That's a whole 30-ish, 5-ish minutes. He'll work out for 45 minutes, walk the dog, make himself like hot water with lemon, enjoy coffee, read, and then he'll go to the office.
That is amazing.
And I'm like,
so impressed.
He does it every single morning. And sometimes I'm like, it stresses me out because I'm such a piece of shit compared to that. Sometimes
Same. I wake up and check my phone. That's it. That's
I
my
wake up
routine.
and straight onto TikTok or my emails or something. And he's like, no, babe, like what you consume in the morning is like how you're going to set up the whole day. And I'm like, no, I know, but I am
Yeah.
clearly a piece of shit in the morning. And I have like a few minutes of a morning routine. I love to stretch in the morning. I love to like have my quiet time with my coffee. Of course, I chug water right in the morning to hydrate. Other than that, I don't have the craziest morning routine.
Yeah.
So he sometimes puts me to shame, but he has taught me also, which is so, so important, men's mental health. And how important it is to keep up with that because he does all these things for his mental health. And before, I feel like that goes back to like in tune with his emotions and that side of him because he's really taught me about men's mental health and how important that is. Because I feel like in my industry, especially in like the fitness wellness industry, it's like women empowerment, women mental health. But he's taught me how important that men's mental health is as well.
But
obviously.
do you think the only reason he knows how important that is because of the therapy that he ended up doing because of like what happened with his mom?
Yes, I think he also, I always say this, growing up with a sister really helps. Like he's just very in tune with like his emotions, of course, but also like handling women and being open about like it's okay to like go to therapy and like let's do this for ourselves. And yeah, I think he had to learn a lot about himself when that all happened. He's gone through some other hard shit in his life, which really taught him mental strength, but how to deal with it and how to deal with his emotions. And it's okay to deal with it in the slightest, you know what I mean? Like it's okay to like sit and take that time and understand it. But at the same time, he is really big on dealing with it and then let's get our shit together. Like let's continue. Let's move on with our lives at the same time. And he's really into positivity and making the most out of it. Like he says to me every single day, we have this thing where like he says the 3 things that we're grateful for. Sometimes we forget to do it in the morning. Also, he's at work and I'm still sleeping. And so by the time he gets home, like usually at the dinner table, we have a no phone rule policy. And this is for his, I could take a photo of it. My phone's away. We always like to say 3 things that we're grateful for. And it could be different every day. It could be the same thing every day. We could switch it up. He's really into like thinking of the little things So he also is very positive at the same time.
Yeah, that's really important. And
Yeah.
that's such good energy. I feel like we should all do the 3
I
things
know,
we're
it's
grateful
really
for every
sweet. And
day.
he reminds me too, like because usually like I feel like a lot of people time in our relationship, I'm also like a really positive, grateful person. So people would think it would be coming from me. Like if I post like, oh, every single night we do the 3 things that we're grateful for. It's like, no, that's my husband. He's really into that stuff.
That's really adorable.
Yeah.
When you were growing up and like still today, did you feel pressure to look a certain way because both of your parents are so athletic? Like, did you feel like you always had to, like just live up to the same standards that people see your mom and think like, oh,
Yeah,
she looks so
no.
great?
Never. And I'm so grateful for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I attribute it to sports. I was a tennis player and lacrosse player. So I played lacrosse in college. And my whole life I played lacrosse starting at age 7, and tennis. My dad was actually a professional tennis player, so he got us started so early in tennis. And so I think because athletics was so like training to be better, training for your goals. I'm working out to be stronger. Like my freshman year, my coach told me I'll never be recruited unless I gain 30 pounds. So I tried to like lift and gain weight constantly. And that was for my sport. I was never worried about what I look like aesthetically, like how's my butt looking like, how's the cellulite. It was like, wait, I need stronger legs, stronger abs for my sport. And so that's how I really grew up. And I never really thought about it, which sounds crazy because my mom, if you know who she is, her name is Denise Austin, and had her own TV show, I said, for 10 years on ESPN, but then 16 years on Lifetime. So 26 years all standing together with VHSs, DVDs. And again, back in the 80s, 90s, it was like, how do you lose 10 pounds? How do you get rid of cellulite? Do you want to, it's terrible to think back, but like lose the cottage cheese thighs and never, if your arm waves, you never want to jiggle that arm fat. And it's like, that was what my mom was really in the 80s and 90s. I mean, that was appropriate back then. Not appropriate, but the thing back then.
It was appropriate back then.
No one knew any different. It wasn't
Mhm.
cancelable. It wasn't bad for your mental health like it is now. And so people would be shocked, I guess, to hear like that really didn't affect my sister and I, because we're so into sports and athletics that we were so focused on our sport and eating the baked potato and pasta at night because we needed to carb up for, a run test the next day or like being better. I started lifting in middle school. I started run tests in 7th grade. So it was always about that and training to be better. And my parents really pushed that. They put a lot of pressure on us to be smart and better at our sport, but never about working out or living up to them and putting the pressure on us career-wise or losing weight-wise in any sense, in any way.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good way of putting it because my sister and I also don't really have thank God, like issues with eating and things like that. But we, similar to you guys, were all about sports. Like we were we were both like captain. I was captain of the volleyball team. She was captain of the basketball team. Like that was our life, growing up. Like I was a tennis player. She was, so good at basketball in her heyday. And like that was just that's what mattered. Then we'd come home, we'd have like a crazy snack and then a huge dinner. And then we'd sit in like our den, I remember. And, her and I still talk about this to this day. And we would have like Ritz crackers, we'd have Cheetos, we'd have
popcorn,
cookies,
Coke,
popcorn. Like we would just like finish it off. Like we were eating from the second we got home because when you're an athlete, like you have to.
Absolutely,
you're starving,
and also your metabolism is so much better when you're
crazy
a younger girl. But at the same time, like that's why I'm such a huge advocate for getting girls and teens in sports. Like there's this crazy stat where 50% of girls drop out of sports by the time they get their period because of just being a girl and giving up on a sport, which totally, if you're not happy in the sport, but I'm such a huge advocate of continuing throughout high school because it teaches you not only, what we're talking about, eating and fueling your body for your sport, but also like team and camaraderie and how to like deal with other girls, especially if you don't have a sister.
Right.
Like being on a team with other girls is so important to how to learn, teamwork and being friends with them and motivation and everything like that. So I'm a huge advocate in it because it taught me so much. I will say I never thought about food and pressure of my body ever until probably I got to age like 23 and I really started like my fitness career. There is a tiny bit of pressure. It's not about my weight. It's about being fit at all times though.
Right.
And I'm not saying fitness equates to what you look like physically. It's just like right now, I have to be honest with you, I'm like teaching workout classes this week and I'm like, can I even do 10 push-ups right now? Because I took a whole month off basically for my wedding, my
Right.
honeymoon, and then SI swimsuit launch straight into Miami. I didn't work out for almost 3 weeks. And that is almost more pressure to me. Like, I want to show up for my community and show up for the classes that I'm teaching, always my most fit self. And so that's the only pressure now because it is my career, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I just recently did a class, like a private class with an instructor who's amazing. And I was like dying because I'd never done it in person. I'd done her stuff virtually. And I was like thinking about how she's like keeping up and doing so well. But I feel like,
Always.
well, for me, like I would have felt better if she was also out of breath. But I see that, like, even like, especially when you're doing a one-on-one with someone, like the pressure as the
Yes.
instructor to be not phased by the fact that you just did like 15
Absolutely.
push-ups, it's insane.
An instructor here in New York was like, "Hey, come in. I want to teach you a private bar class." And I'm like, "If you teach me bar right now, you will think that I've never worked out before." And I promise I'm usually a really fit girl, but it's almost been a month since
Yeah.
I've really like trained and worked out and been on my shit. And so that's the only pressure that sometimes I do feel. And then, another question too is like shooting for Sports Illustrated. Sometimes it's like, do you eat better? Or are you worried about it? It's like yes and no at the same time. Of course, I'm thinking about it a little bit and want to be a little bit more on top of my shit. But I think if you always I have a very good relationship with food where I eat. I know a lot of people go by like the 80-20 rule. I'm more like 70-30, and that's just how I live my life because I love to have fun. I love to drink alcohol and party. I don't know if you guys can hear it in my voice, but came from a weekend of partying in Miami. So I always think at the same time, like life is just too short. And it's okay if you're not in the best shape of your life right now. We go through seasons, and I think it's okay to be on top of your shit a little bit more. Hopefully by the end of the summer, I'm more on top of my shit, but we go through waves. And I think that's normal for anyone in fitness and staying on top of your routine. And I think the one thing about going through waves in the fitness is knowing when to get back at it. And when you can get back at it, just jump right back in.
Yeah.
Because right now I could be in the stage of like, oh my gosh, it's been a month since I've like really been in a routine, eating healthy and working out and stuff. And I'm like, when I'm home next week, I am so excited to get right back into it. When it could go the opposite way of like, keep prolonging that rut that I'm in when I get home,
Right.
you know?
Right. Yeah. I also saw on your Instagram you're friends with Brooke Nader, who came on this podcast.
I
I love
love her. I
her.
was just with her. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you, it seems like from Instagram, again, I don't know, but are friends with Alex Earl too.
She's so
And
cute.
she's so
I
cute.
love
Love
all the
her.
girls in SI.
Well,
Like,
so I was going to ask, like, it seems like you have such positive relationships with so many of the other swimsuit girls and just like other
yeah.
like workout people in general, influencers, things like that. Have you ever had a negative experience with anyone in the industry?
No, I feel so grateful to say that. The SI girls are truly, and I say this with like my entire heart, are the best. And we have such great energy. And I feel like I personally feel this that everyone's very inclusive and everyone like wants the best for each other. I was just talking, my best friend, Kristen Harper, is also in the issue and she's become like my true best friend. We're both in each other's weddings and all that. And we're so lucky to all be so supportive of one another. And I know you probably hear that a lot, like women empowerment, everyone, we love supporting each other, but no, it's real fucking shit. We love supporting each other. And I mean that with my whole heart. And I love being friends with them. And someone like Brooks and Camille Caustic, they've really like, when I was just first getting started with SI Swimsuit especially, they really kind of made me feel included. Like my first year, my rookie year, like kind of taking me through and understanding, like if I had a question, like, wait, when's that supposed to be? What's that like? They really told me. And so I feel like I have this duty now to like help out the next gen of like
Yeah, pay it
Xandra.
forward.
Yeah, like Xandra is amazing. And
Mhm.
Alex, the digital issue she is in. And just kind of, Ellie Thuman, she's an amazing girl. Just kind of, when they first arrived, now she's her second year, but her first year, I just feel like I like helping, and Kristen does this amazing job of too, because now it's both our fourth year on the issue, which is crazy. So we kind of know like the lay of the land. And I think once, kind of vets helping out, there's just a really good cycle of vets helping out the rookies and vice versa. And so everyone really feels supported and included.
I love that. And I imagine there's an element of it where people are just so happy to be there, you know?
Oh, everyone's so grateful. Everyone
Right.
is just like, I don't know, it's happy. It's such a happy time. And I think that's also the energy it creates because everyone's kind of realizing the dream comes true and no one's in competition with each other. Like we're all in
Right.
it. Like we're good.
Mhm.
And I think that's also what also became for me is I don't think it's competition because first off, I got in the magazine by competing for almost 4 freaking years to get in. And so I'm used to trying to get in the magazine. And so
Yeah.
when I finally fucking made the magazine, I was just grateful. 1 year, I was like, I'm good. I did it for 1 year. I could call it a day and be like, I'm an SI model. I did it. And so every single year that I'm invited back, it just really, I don't know, it's just like such a grateful feeling. And I know it's so cliche. You're probably like, okay, give us some freaking tea here. But it's so true. It's
Yeah.
just, it's really an awesome feeling.
No, I love that. Where did you go on your honeymoon, by the way?
We went to Anguilla. Why does it also feel, it was like 2 weeks ago and it feels like it was months ago. We went to Anguilla for a week and then we went to St. Bart's for 5 days.
So part of the reason that I asked, I kind of had a feeling that you went to Anguilla because I saw that you had said that your mom had surprised you with the band from Anguilla. We went every year since I was a
Stop.
baby.
Stop.
Yes.
Do you know Molly 360?
Of course.
So my mom surprised me with him at our wedding. And it
Yeah.
was, I'm not kidding you. I think everyone thought that I was like going crazy because my mom, we always talked about, we went to Anguilla too. So my mom filmed her TV shows there. So we took a lot of vacations there growing up. And we would always say like, we're going to have a Molly 360. If you guys don't know who he is, you probably, most 99% of listeners probably do not know who he is, but he's this amazing guy, amazing band from Anguilla. We always talked about having him at my wedding one day, not even knowing who my husband was, but just saying that. And so when my mom said she was giving her speech at my welcome party, and we always went to Anguilla growing up, I just freaked out. All our guests were like, what the hell is going on? Why is Katie like jumping up and down? But it was the best night ever.
It's so magical.
Isn't it the best?
It's the best place on earth.
We stayed at Capjaluca.
Oh,
It was to die for.
the best.
And then St. Bart's was amazing. It was a little bit more party, which we like to party together, my husband and I. So
Yeah.
we had a blast.
That's so fun. I'm so jealous. Like I miss Anguilla so much. The last time I was there was for my honeymoon, but that was 2 years ago. So I'm due to come.
You
back.
should go back for your anniversary.
I just like, I feel like someone let the word out and people know about Anguilla now.
I swear to gosh, 2017, 2018 maybe I last went right before that terrible hurricane they had.
Yeah.
I last went just a couple months before that. No one even knew what it was.
Right.
And now, I think Sophia Richie also put it on the map as she puts a lot of things on the map.
Did she
She
go?
honeymooned at Capjaluca too. So
Oh,
she,
yeah.
and of course my mom was like, you have to stay there because Sophia Richie stayed there too.
Yeah,
And I'm like, that's another reason, a lot more
Right.
celebs going
Right.
to these places.
Yeah. Oh, people, celebs, if you're listening, stop tagging the location.
Manjiri, I went right before that place got so
Yeah.
famous from the Kardashians, and now everyone goes there and it just up the
Right.
price so much.
Oh, stop blowing up everyone's spot, guys. All right, we're going to do some fun rapid fire poll questions. So we do these on our Instagram, and they're just like silly situations that people submit for, and you can just choose like an answer. You don't have to elaborate. All right, let's see.
So this is like people writing in?
Exactly.
Mm.
Okay, so should you move or not? You have a job that allows you to travel whenever, wherever, and you're a 31-year-old female who hasn't found love in your city. Move or no?
Move, absolutely. I would say,
Really?
I think, yeah. I think if you're unhappy and you're like, I'm feeling a little static and there's another city where you have at least 1 or 2 friends, or not even friends, like acquaintances where you can see yourself, I say, why not? Here's the thing about moving. If you have the funds, you can always move back. You can always remove. So why not, if you can, put your stuff in storage, maybe do a temporary 1 to 3 month kind of lease if you can, and then try it out. I think we think of moving as so permanent, and I know that's, sometimes it has to be because of people's budgets. Of course, I'm understanding of that, but I think moving doesn't have to be as permanent as you think.
Yeah.
If you don't think about it as such a permanent thing, hey, why don't I try this for a year? And if I'm unhappy, I move again.
Yeah,
That's totally
test
okay.
the waters.
Test the waters.
How much should a guy spend on a ring for a girl in months' salary? 1 month salary, 2 to 4 months salary, or 5 months salary or more?
Over 5.
Uh-huh.
Is that terrible?
No.
It's a for life ring.
I agree.
And I think like
and you'll get it insured and like
you'll get it insured and it's going to be worth it. She will love it.
yeah, you'll have it for the rest of her life.
I think if possible, over 5.
Did you meet your significant other's parent before or after saying I love you?
Oh, before. Yeah, before. And I was really sad about that because I thought it would come. We were at his parents for Christmas. We were only dating for like 3 months though at that time. I was just like after Christmas, like Christmas morning, and I was like, I think he's gonna say it. And every holiday, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, I was like, I think it's such a special time. We're here with his dad and his stepmom, and yeah, no, before.
He said it at 8 months. You said,
yeah,
mm-hmm.
It took him a while.
You're patient.
I was so patient. I was almost like wanting to say something like constantly, and by like the 6-7 month mark, it was to the point where we quarantined. I mean, it was 2020. We were quarantining together. We were doing everything together. Like, it was like, and I've been in other relationships. I'm like, I know we're in love. This is insane.
Right.
So I had to wait. I had to really wait.
I mean, but your situation was unique. He'd never had a girlfriend. He
never said I love you. And I had said I love you pretty much a lot.
Yeah.
Like I had a 2-month boyfriend and I was like, I love you.
Yeah. That's Libra vibe. Okay, let's see. Is it a red flag if you sometimes tiff with your partner when you're drunk? Not full-blown fights, but occasionally tiff.
Absolutely. I think
it is a red flag?
Oh, no, it's not a red flag.
Okay.
I think it's absolutely okay.
Yeah.
I think you're going to have tiffs. If it's not a full-blown fight, I mean, you're totally okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
As long as it doesn't happen every time you drink. It should only happen like 1 out of 8 to 10 times you drink. If it's becoming a constant thing, then I think the alcohol is bringing it out of you. I think in the beginning of a relationship, every time I would drink, I would like start a little bit of a tiff. I think it was because also I was not used to having such a healthy relationship. I was like, this is freaking weird. Why are we not fighting? What's going on? I was like always in a toxic relationship. So I think if it's not every time, then it's totally okay.
Yeah.
And you work it out the next morning and you're totally okay.
Also, like, blame it on the
alcohol. Absolutely.
Your good friend had a glow up and is looking so good. She lost some weight and you're starting to notice that she's looking really, really skinny. You've had it on your heart to say something and make sure she's nourishing herself, but you're not sure if you should. Should you say something or don't and let her have her glow up and just trust she's being healthy?
I always say something. I think saying something is important because at least you're checking in, even if they say that they're okay, just be like, I think a lot of the times people equate to losing weight to like a glow up a lot of the times, but people don't realize like it could be something traumatic going on or something, why they're not eating is that they're going through a really hard time, or their glow up could not always equate to happiness. It actually, a lot of the time it's like because they're going through some shit and they're probably waiting for someone to ask them. So I always say ask because, if you can understand the vibes, especially if they're a friend, kind of prompt the conversation. And if they close up right away, be like, okay, I tried, I'm good.
Right.
But read the vibes and kind of prompt it and kind of alley-oop them to kind of give how they're feeling. But I say go for it and ask.
Yeah, I think that's true. It definitely depends on the friend, but I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Depends on the friend. Or if you're not as close with that friend, have her best friend do it.
Right.
Reach out to the best friend and be like, I think it would be more appropriate. I've done that before. I think it would be more appropriate if it came from you, not me. Because if I say this to you, it could be taken the wrong way.
So true.
So I go to my other best friend as they're closer.
Yeah, such a good call. Awesome. Can you leave us with a quote or piece of advice?
Ooh, a quote or piece of advice. Well, a few things that's been like ringing my mind lately, I guess. It sounds so cliche, but like just go for every fucking little thing in your life. And especially now that I'm married, I'm like, this sounds like I'm unhappy, but I'm so fucking happy now. I'm just saying it as advice. Go on so many dates, go out with so many people, go travel the world. And I know you can do that now with my husband. I can travel the world, but like we're going to have babies pretty soon. Not pretty soon, but like, soon. Ish. So like just live your life. And I'm kind of in that phase right now where I'm like taking a lot more yeses, because I'm not saying that me having a kid is going to take away. But I think as you get older, you realize like how many more things that I should have done in my 20s and like said yes to.
Right.
So I think that's a huge piece of advice. And I think also your 20s are and me now just being 30, I feel like I wish in my 20s I just slowed down a lot more at the same time. And I just kind of contradicted myself. I'm very aware
Yeah,
of
yeah,
that.
yeah.
But slow down in a way like with my mindset. I don't have to have everything right now with my career. Like things
Right.
are going to happen to you. Keep going and say yes to all these things,
Right.
but be patient at the same time. That
Mhm.
you don't have to have everything figured out. Even if you're like, what have I been doing the last 2 years? Like that's all right. You're in your 20s. You're not supposed to have everything figured out. Have fun, live your life, and you're exactly where you need to be. You don't need to compare yourself so damn much. And I finally feel so secure with where I'm at in my career and my life. And it took a while to get there.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Katie.
Thank
Where can
you.
everyone find you, follow
They
you?
can find me at Katie Austin. I'm pretty much Katie Austin on everything. On Snapchat, I am Get Fit with Katie, where I have like my biggest following there. And then the Katie Austin app has over 350 workout classes on there. So it's on demand. You guys can follow along my schedule, or you can do the new summer challenge that's out. I also am really like well known on my Snapchat, especially for my recipes. So I have so many healthy recipes, and my thing is like healthifying everything. So if you love burgers, how to healthify it, how to fuel your body. So make sure to check out my workouts and recipes on there.
Cool, will do. Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thanks for having me.